A very good evening and welcome. This is News First Primetime News here on MTV Sports. I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandara.
And I'm Krishna Panditaratna. Accepting of nominations for elections of sports governing bodies concluded today.
And Pope Benedict XVI has vowed for unconditional obedience and reverence to his eventual successor.
Before we head into those stories in detail, here's a look at tonight's headlines.
3 persons arrested in connection with the acid attack on the North Central Province Commissioner of Ayurveda arrested. 3 bodies found inside a house in Panadura. The passport belonging to the husband of the former Chief Justice taken over by court. And the Sri Lanka Food Promotion Board purchases vegetables from the market and sells the vegetables while leaving their very own farms in a state of neglect.
President of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Rodrigues A. Hensel, has observed that the screening of the Channel 4 documentary on Sri Lanka will have no impact on the official position of the Council. The President of the UNHRC had made the statement in response to the letter sent by Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the UN in Geneva, Ambassador Ravinath R. Singha. News First spoke exclusively to the ambassador, who is currently in Geneva, for further details.
President of the Human Rights Council, Ambassador Hensel, and yesterday this is the response he had sent me. He makes the point that NGOs who are holding events on the sidelines of this the Human Rights Council meeting must take full responsibility for the contents of their events, and that the content and that this screening is not held in the council hall. This is held in a side room in the UN building, but that it does not reflect in any way the official position of the Human Rights Council.
On the third day of the UNHRC session in Geneva, Commonwealth Secretary General Kamlesh Sharma, who undertook a visit to Sri Lanka, recently said that the Commonwealth Union plans to provide technical assistance to member nations to implement the recommendations of the UNHRC's Universal Periodic Review. Let's take a look at some excerpts of the speech made by Kamlesh Sharma during today's session.
With regard to this Council's Universal Periodic Review mechanism, we work to strengthen the capacities of national governments, national human rights institutions, parliaments, and civil society to engage constructively with the UPR process. Our focus over the next 4 years will be on providing technical assistance to states so that they can implement accepted UPR recommendations in ways that are sustainable and effective. A Commonwealth Expert Roundtable on Reconciliation will take place in London in May 2013, and it will involve the sharing of experiences of the challenges faced and lessons learned during post-conflict reconciliation in Commonwealth member states.
Christian Friis Bach is the Danish Minister for Development Cooperation. Speaking after Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe's speech in Geneva yesterday, the Danish diplomat highlighted the need for an accountability process in Sri Lanka.
Impunity for large-scale violations of human rights may risk setting a damaging precedent in terms of how states deal with internal dissent and conflict. Accountability is both important for victims and for the communities, for upholding the respect for international humanitarian and human rights law. In this context, we also hope to see a process leading to accountability and reconciliation in Sri Lanka.
In related news, Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India, Prasad Karyavasam, in an interview with Reuters, says that it is up to the government of Sri Lanka to decide whether to accept resolutions or not. Karyavasam adds that Sri Lanka can reject a resolution if Sri Lanka does not like it.
Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India Prasad Karyavasam was interviewed by Reuters on the UNHRC session in Geneva, and accusations of human rights abuses against Sri Lanka that have been levelled by international organisations. Responding to a question on the US-sponsored resolution at the UNHRC, Prasad Karyavasam said that the resolution was uncalled for since Sri Lanka is moving in the right direction and it is only asking for more time and space. Karyavasam told Reuters that Sri Lanka has a very good roadmap created by the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, and also noted that if allegations made by anyone are found to be true through Sri Lanka's own investigation mechanism, then action will be taken. Karyavasam said that an international investigation on Sri Lanka is not required because it is a democratic country which has its own institutions and security forces. He questioned whether there was a single democratic country which has opened up their security forces for international investigation. Prasad Karyavasam, who said that very powerful countries also have allegations against their security forces, noted that these countries never opened up their forces to international investigations. The Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India, in his interview with Reuters, emphasized that Sri Lanka too has the same right.
Meanwhile, speaking at an event in Colombo today, Deputy Speaker of Parliament Chandima Veerakkodi reiterated that the past and present situations should be taken into consideration when speaking of human rights.
Protecting democracy and the violation of human rights are the topics that are being discussed in Geneva. There were obstacles relating to human rights in the past. We lived in an environment where there was anguish about where we had the right to live or not. I believe attention should be focused in Geneva on whether this country has obtained freedom or whether democracy in the country is safeguarded. It's time now for the newspaper cartoon of the day.
The High Court in London has blocked the deportation of a group of asylum seekers scheduled to be sent back to Sri Lanka today. The BBC reports that the ruling means the asylum seekers will be able to remain in the UK pending investigations into their contention that they will be tortured if they are made to return. The UK border agency told the BBC that it was disappointed by the ruling and that it would appeal. Meanwhile, the Immigration Minister of Australia, Brendan O'Connor, has released a statement affirming Australia will continue to return failed asylum seekers to Sri Lanka despite a damning report on Sri Lanka filed by Human Rights Watch. Minister O'Connor says the federal government does not return asylum seekers without assessing any claims for protection against up-to-date country information.
3 suspects have been arrested in connection with the acid attack on Kumar Alvis, the Commissioner of Ayurveda of the North Central Province. The police say those arrested were an Ayurvedic doctor, an army officer and a fishmonger. Investigations have revealed that a long-standing dispute between the Ayurvedic doctor and the Commissioner of Ayurveda had led to the acid attack. The police said that the Ayurvedic doctor had allegedly given the army officer a sum of 75,000 rupees to carry out the acid attack on the Commissioner. The army officer who was arrested is a resident of the Urapule area in Nitambua and was serving in the Mattakuli area in Colombo. The police said that information has come to light that the army officer and the fishmonger had travelled to Anuradhapura to carry out the acid attack. The police further noted that the acid was purchased in the Kirillavale area. The motorbike used by the suspects to travel to Anuradhapura has been taken into police custody.
Three bodies were discovered inside a house located down Gunaratna Mawatha in Panadura today. The bodies were that of a man, woman and an infant.
The police media spokesperson's office said that the bodies were found during the investigations carried out based on a tip-off received to the police emergency hotline at around 10:30 this morning. The police said that the deceased were a mother, father and an 8-month-old infant of the same family. The police media spokesperson's office suspect the deaths to have occurred a few days ago. The deceased have been identified as Niroshan Indika and his wife Shirani Padmalata. Our correspondent said that the family had been living on rent in the house. According to the rental agreement, the family was from the Beliat area and had moved to the house in Sagaramavatha, Paunadura in 2011. Our correspondent noted that the magisterial inquiry into the deaths was held at around 2 this afternoon. The police media spokesperson's office said that the post-mortem examination will be conducted to establish the cause of death. The Paunadura South Police are conducting further investigations into the incident. The Attorney General informed court today that the charge sheet against Pradeep Karyavasam, the husband of the former Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike, should be amended. The case was filed relating to the disputed transaction where funds of the National Savings Bank were used to purchase shares from the finance company, while Karyavasam was the chairman of NSB. Senior State Counsel Thusit Mudalige informed court that the charge sheet should be amended as the charges were filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption before seeking advice from the Attorney General.
The case filed against Pradeep Karyavasam by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption was taken up today before Colombo Chief Magistrate Gwashmi Singapuli. Presenting facts to court, Senior State Counsel Thusit Mudalige said that they hope to amend the charges before presenting it once again. Attorney at law Salia Peiris, speaking on behalf of his client Pradeep Karyavasam, said that objections will be raised regarding judicial powers once the new charge sheet is presented. The case will be taken up again on the 26th of April. The Chief Magistrate, who granted 2 surety bails of 10 million rupees each to Karyavasam and ordered for his passport to be impounded.
At the Cabinet media briefing held today, journalists inquired about the statement made by the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, who claims that his life is under threat.
Yesterday, at a media briefing held, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party made a serious allegation that he faces death threats. What is the government's stance on this matter? He answered that yesterday. Didn't you see that? He said that he made the statement in anger.
ඒකද ඔබතුමා කොහොමද ඒකයි කියලාද මම හිතුවේ ඒකට මේ අරක කියලා ඔබතුමා මේක කියලා කියනවා ඉතින් අපි දෙන්න ඕක ඉතින් හිතාගමු ඔබතුමා හිතනවා ඒක කියලා මං කියනවා මේක කියලා නමුත් දැන් මේ ප්‍රකාශය අතරම බරපතල කාර්යයක් කියනවා නේද රජයේ නෑ එතුමාට
He said that someone spoke to him over the telephone. He said that someone had told his children that they will shoot their father in front of them. Now an investigation will take place to find out who made this threat. This is an unnecessary question. I am saddened by this because even the powerful media use this incident for cartoons. We have heard of incidents where youth get into a brawl at the beach and sustain injuries. You can see this anywhere. The injured will go to the hospital while the other will go to the police. The same thing had happened here. They went to the police and the police granted bail. Now the debate is over the bail that was granted.
පොලිසියට ගියා පොලිසියෙන් කැප දුන්නා. කැප දීපු එකෙන් තමයි තර්ක කරන්නේ.
The minister indirectly said that there is a conspiracy taking place within the government. Is that true? I think he did not say it. You are saying that he mentioned it indirectly. That is how you have understood it. That is not how I understood it.
මොකද මට තේරුන්නේ ඔයා හිතුවා කරයන්ට උත්තර දෙන්න හතර පස් දෙනෙක් එකට වාද කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ.
He also mentioned that if they cannot destroy his political image, they would take away his life.
Oh.
Yes, he did, but he did not point his finger at the government.
නෑ රජයේ ගඩොලක් ගලවන්න හදන්නේ නේද රජයේ ගඩොලක් ගලවපුවම රජනේ වැටෙන්නේ ඔය ඉතින් ඒකනේ ඔව් ඒ කියන්නේ කාරවර පිටස්තරේ රජයයි නෙමෙයි රජයේ ගඩොලක් ගලවනවාද දැන් අපි මොන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබ්බත් හිතේ අමාරුවෙන් හරි පෙලක්කයි ඉන්නවනේ පෙලක්කලාට හිතේ අමාරු තියෙන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම ඉන්නවා පෙලක්කයි හැම නෑ හරි පෙලක්කයි බොරුවට හිතේ අමාරුව තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා ඉතින් ඒ වගේ ඉන්නවා හැබැයි ගලවන්නේ ගල් ගලවන්නේ දත් ගලවන්නේ පිටින් නෑනේ වටන්න ඕනේ වෙනකොටනේ. නැත්නම් ඉතින් එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහනේ.
ඉතින් එතුමා කිව්වේ මේ රජයේ මාධ්‍ය ආයතනම එතුමා කිව්වා මේ පුද්ගලික පුවත්පතක නමක් කියලා මේක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම රජයේ. ඇයි මට මෙහෙම කරන්න කියලා.
එහෙම කිව්වනේ. එහෙම කිව්වා. හරි නේද? ඒ ෆෑන් දාලත් නෙමෙයි. ඒක තමයි.